it's not just merch in terms of shirts and logos on things. There's so much that you can do in this space, right?
Correct, yeah.
Any advice for mums who put so much pressure on themselves to get everything right and to be able to do the sub 4-hour marathon, run the business, have the kids all sorted, have them healthy, etc.?
People are going to judge regardless, and it's how I decide to let that affect me. Let them judge, let them feel that way.
When you consider the concept of financial freedom, what does it truly mean to you beyond just the numbers? A seriously heavy hitter in the hot seat today, Janelle Cavanagh from Withers & Co. Good to see you. I believe you might be a little bit under the weather.
It was a good night at Dua Lipa last night.
Yeah?
For sure. She put on an epic show. So it's good to be here.
I see that she's in town and a few concerts at Spark Arena. How many people were there last night?
It was a packed out crowd. So what the arena holds, is it like 8,000?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But...
Yeah. But it was a tame crowd to begin with, but as the show went on, it really grew. And yeah, she is phenomenal, like super hot, such a class act, and like she's fit. Like there wasn't a point where you're like, man, she's puffed or anything like that. She just puts on an amazing show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what time did we get the head on the pillow last night?
Look, I think it was about 2:30. We really tried to box on, but a lot of the places we hit up last night was shut, so we kind of had to pivot and ended up at the Caretaker for some cocktails.
Yeah,
that was good.
Good on you. They do a good cocktail. Well, you've made it here for a 9 a.m. record, so very good effort. I think you'd be the first to probably put their hand up, and well, I'm sure there's probably been some other slightly hungover guests, but I did check with you when we booked on this time. I was like, is that after the concert or is this the day before? But hell of an effort. Anyway, do you want to start with what Withers & Co. is and what you do now, and then we can kind of work backwards to some of the things that you've done throughout your life?
Yeah. So Withers & Co. is a branded merchandise and apparel company. So we distribute promotional products, branded apparel, headwear, all of that. So anything you want your logo on, we can source and provide.
Yeah, so, and you do the design and all of that sort of thing as well, right?
Correct, yeah, from start to finish.
I believe there might even be some Keep the Change merch nearly ready.
I literally just got the dispatch notification as I was in the Uber here. So
nice one. That
should be arriving tomorrow.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you get into that space?
So kind of just stumbled into the industry. I grew up playing a lot of sport, and obviously team kit is always a good day when it arrives. Like, cool, what are we wearing this year and all that? But I didn't really know that it was an industry. And so I was actually at Touch World Cup in Scotland and Edinburgh and met Matt there, and I was actually living over in England, did a gap year straight out of school, and then came back to New Zealand. Still didn't really know what I wanted to do. Didn't want to go to university and rack up student loan, something I wasn't passionate about. And then actually saw he had a job going, and I was like, hey, this could be kind of cool. And so kind of fell into the industry that way.
Yeah, nice one. So you touch on Touch, but I saw an article from 2010, I think it was, when yourself and your brother maybe were going to some form of Touch tournament, but you're obviously very good at that. Yeah,
that was so debuted in 2009 in Wollongong for the New Zealand Open Women's Touch team. I think I was selected when I was 15, played when I was 16, so got into kind of like a high-performance environment early. Lots of learnings there, but yeah, I'm still playing at the moment. We just had Masters, I'm now in Masters, down in Canterbury at Napunawai, and that was amazing. And then the Trans-Tasman, I'm not a part of the women's team for New Zealand, but they are playing down there in April for a Trans-Tasman series. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Deeply involved. So you represented New Zealand for Touch throughout your life?
Yes, yeah. My last campaign was the 2019 Malaysia World Cup, and yeah, it was with my brother playing, he's been in the open men's. He's played over 50 caps for New Zealand, and now he's actually the assistant coach. So that's really cool having that in the family. And then Matt also plays for New Zealand too. We were just in Nottingham last year for the World Cup over there.
And how, because touch doesn't seem to get a lot of coverage compared to rugby league, sevens, women's rugby, etc. So how do we go on the world stage at touch?
Look, we really try and get the Aussies, and we get this close.
Yeah.
But they always get it. But it's a sport that user pays, and when you come up through the age groups, there's a lot of touch throughout the year, and you're in the under 19s, the under 21s, and then in your open women's, there's a lot of different teams, and so trying to get the best players in that team sometimes can be tricky because it's financial as well.
So when you get to the level that you got to, and I saw that you were the MVP at the 2019 World Cup, which you just glazed over before, do your mates in the social touch setting, do they try and like ring you in for, a bit of a game, or is it sort of pretty well known in Canterbury that you're pretty good at this, so hang on, can't be, having her in as a ring-in?
No, you definitely get the call-ups for sure, or when you're when we're like travelling, definitely some call-ups there. Yeah, but I really like the social side of touch. Like we play on a Thursday night. It's a team that's been going for about 25 years, and now we've got the kids coming through and playing with us as well. So it's a real like family dynamic too, cool. Which is nice. Like Lily jumps out with us on the field. Like Bills is on the sideline. I really like that side of it.
Can you give us a top tip for touch that the rookie touch player wouldn't know, or that we need to be thinking about in order to be a bit better at touch?
Top tip of touch, just go forward and initiate the touch. So I think a lot in social, we try and dodge and we get touch, and then we've got to come back to the mark to roll it. If you've got 6 touches, use your 6 touches to get down the field, initiate, get the ball down, go again. We don't need to try dodge on those first few touches. Because
then we're just slowing it down and we're probably not going to get as far.
Yeah, you're not getting the momentum.
So we want to keep them backpedaling.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Seems simple.
But pre-COVID, I don't know if you know that, but so in Australia, NRL bought Touch Football Australia. So there was actually NRL touch teams for a period there. So I was in the Warriors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the World Cup happened, and then we had one round. So I was playing over at Suncourt Stadium as a curtain raiser to the Broncos. That was pretty cool. And then COVID hit and plans have changed. And now the Women's Rugby League over there has gone massive. So touch isn't quite in there anymore. But
What was it like playing at Suncourt?
Pretty cool. Yeah. Massive. Just running out onto there was, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. You touched on high performance before from an early age. What sorts of things do you think you were learning in that high performance area that now you can see have been really valuable for you in other areas of your life?
Goal setting, obviously a big one. Now I would call it habit stacking. Back then I wouldn't have called it habit stacking, but just getting into the habit, those routines.
Anything around like visions and or like visualization, was that a thing that you were taught at a young age?
No, not so much. I would say more into my early 20s, getting into that side of things. We worked with a mental skills coach leading into the 2019 World Cup, and that was really a bit of an eye-opener for me, and the red zone and the blue zone and how to pull yourself out of that. And so much of on-the-field stuff is actually all the off-the-field stuff, and just showing up prepared. I think that was probably the biggest thing. If you do the work, building up to something, like the results will take care of itself. And I definitely found in my first few years in the New Zealand campaign, I wasn't fit enough. And as a 16, 17-year-old, you kind of like, it's all right. She'll be right. or you think you're fit, but you're not as fit as you could be. So I think just doing that work and showing up like the best version of yourself, I think is key.
Yeah. So you've got a business that you're running, and we'll touch more on that soon. And then you're representing New Zealand at Touch, and you're also a mum to 3. Is that right?
Yes. So I've got myself 1, and then I've got my 2 bonus girls too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you found that you've been able to teach them some of these things from what you've learnt through your sporting career?
Yes. Yeah, we definitely, sport's a big part of our routine, especially in summertime. So I'm actually quite looking forward to winter and hibernating. It's been a busy summer, but so we're actually doing a marathon in July, and we've got Lily and Zara signed up to the 10 kilometre. And it's not so much them running a 10 kilometre, it's more how to get to that point.
Nice.
Just the putting in the work and then getting the reward. Trip to the Gold Coast, all of that, but just also it's going to be hard. Yeah. Just teaching them that some things in life are hard. Yeah. But if we do the work, we prepare well, we train well, you build into it and you show up, it will be easier than what you think it's going to be.
Awesome. So you do that as a family?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're running a marathon?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you feel? Any training today on the 2:30 finish?
It'll be this afternoon when we get home. Yeah.
Good
It's
effort.
I think it's just a 30-minute chill run today. Yeah. But got a tempo run in yesterday pre-concert because I knew needed to get that done.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it's my 3rd marathon. So I did this will be my 4th actually. Did the Queenstown one a few years ago, and I did 4:12, and that really annoyed me that it was 12 minutes over 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I went back to do under 4, did a 4:11.
Oh,
So
how did you process that? Really
that was
pissed you off?
Yeah. And I started really well. And got to about the 33 kilometre mark and cramped up really bad. And I could just see the time like slipping away. And so even during it, I was like, I'm not going to hit that under 4. Like, so that was that. But it was kind of like, right, well, let's just finish and get the best time that you can.
Yeah.
I'm just competitive with myself.
I couldn't tell, yeah.
One of my goals is to help 100,000 Kiwis improve their financial literacy and in turn help create a better New Zealand. Generate has a very similar goal to educate and empower Kiwis to make smart KiwiSaver decisions so more of us can be better off at retirement. That's why I'm stoked to have them on board as sponsors. Together, we can reach more people and make this goal a reality. If you've never got KiwiSaver advice before, book a no obligation chat with a Generate advisor at generatekiwisaver.co.nz/change. They'll even put you in the draw to win 5k worth of vouchers just for having a chat, whether or not you decide to sign up. T's and C's on that webpage. A copy of the product disclosure statement is available at generatekiwisaver.co.nz. The issuer of the scheme is Generate Investment Management Limited, and of course, past performance does not guarantee future returns.
Got a run coach, Laura, and that was through Femi, who they are a female run club, coaching, empowering women, training to your cycle. Oh, yeah. So it's all based around our cycles, because there's some weeks where your hormones are up, some weeks where you're down. You'll go and do a run and it felt like shit. And you're like, why did that feel like shit? But it's where you were in your cycle. So it's more like just listening to your body, maybe not doing some hard runs one week because your body's just not there.
Yeah.
So got Laura on board, and then we did the Gold Coast last year and got 3:58. So
wow, well done.
I was stoked with that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, cool, don't need to do it again. And then this year towards the end of last year, it was like, wow, what are we gonna be training for over the winter? Well, let's do the marathon again. And now Matt's signed up too to run his first one. So,
first one?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And is he pretty competitive? That's your partner, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's competitive, but also he sets a lot of goals. But for this, I think it's like, hey, look, if I finish it and I run the whole way, like, that's great. Yeah. But I reckon he can do between 4 and 4.5. Like, I want to be like, no, you can go between this time. Like, that's what you should be aiming for.
Do you guys push each other quite a bit, you two?
We do. I'm faster.
Yeah. Just throwing that out there, Matt.
Yeah. Maybe over a 80-metre sprint, he might get me, but the long distance stuff, I kind of pull him along. But at the moment, we've been going out and doing a few runs together, and I actually have to like pull him back. I'm like, no, this run's supposed to be slow. We're supposed to, the whole zone 2 training is really big, and so. Yeah, that's been a different mindset change too, of like not just going out, hitting the pavement and running hard. It's like, no, this is a real nice, easy run today. Like, you should be able to talk. You should
enjoy
not
it.
be puffed.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel hard.
Okay. Yeah. Running shouldn't feel hard. Interesting.
Yeah.
So was it FEM? Is it FEMME if people want to find that?
FEMMI.
MMI. Okay. Because I'd imagine there's probably a lot of people that do struggle with running. Women where they would be like, this sucks, I've tried that, but you could try it at the wrong time in your cycle, etc.
Exactly, yeah. Lydia O'Donnell and Esther started it. They live in Melbourne. Lydia's Kiwi. I'm not 100% on Esther, but just came across them on social media and thought, hey, this is interesting. And I'd kind of dived into my hormones and got a bit more in sync and in tune with my cycle, because we had to go through IVF to get Billy.
Yeah.
And before that, my cycle was not even something I really thought about all that much, how much it affects us women. It was nice to kind of find a spot for that in my running.
Yeah. Have you then found that it impacts other things now that you've paid more attention to it? So not just running and getting pregnant, but like... Yeah,
just it's really just moods and energy levels for sure. Like, or a couple of days leading beforehand, you're like super emotional, or you react a certain way, and then you're like, why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
And a couple of days later, you're like, okay, that's why. And being able to just know that and be okay with it. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, because I mean, this Oura ring, for example, they're sort of different between a bloke and a woman, and there's a lot around tracking your cycle and things like that, and your body temperature leading into it and out, and like there's sort of more focus on it.
I even saw a snippet on TikTok the other day of a podcast, and talking about how cold therapy is massive at the moment, cold plunges, saunas, all of that. But this lady was saying that women actually don't need to go into such a cold ice bath because of how we store fat and our body temperature. We kind of go into a shock rather than the processing side of it that we should be doing. I'm explaining that really poorly.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting as well. Like, what fits for a man doesn't always fit for a woman.
There's so much we don't know about ourselves, and it's going to be fascinating to see where technology takes us over time.
Yeah.
With access to data and even just like blood testing and gene testing and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. But so with your Oura ring, how do you go when you wake up and you like see on your stats like, oh, that was a pretty shit sleep?
Yeah.
How do you go into the day and you've seen that?
Well, I probably just like anybody who knows or thinks that they've had a shit sleep, and then you just got to get into the day, right? But what's probably interesting is when you think you've had a bad sleep, often you actually haven't. Well, sometimes you'll be like, I was awake all night. And you say things like that and you think that it's true, and then you check the data and you're like, oh, no, I woke up once. I got up and went to the toilet. I was up for 2 hours. And then you're like, oh, actually, I fell asleep 20 minutes after. But you're telling your brain that, it's worse than what it was. And so I find it probably more goes the other way.
Interesting.
It's been cool to then get the data to almost try and back up or get rid of like, oh, that's actually what I'm thinking isn't true. And all the time I'll hear people say like, oh, I'm a good sleeper, I'm a bad sleeper or whatever. It's like, but you don't actually know that because you don't have any data. You're just, because we all, probably have a time where we think, I slept really well or I slept really poorly, but you don't really know. Like, what are you comparing that to?
Yeah.
But what I guess do use it for is that when I'm really feeling really, really good and have slept really well, my creativity and ability to write and tackle big problems is really high.
Yeah.
So I make sure I don't waste those days.
Yeah.
But then, much like probably tracking your cycle, if I'm, say, not feeling so good, I'll sort of back off and go, you know what, mate, like you don't need to, maybe don't do those hard accounting tasks today. Let's leave them for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or let's, just give yourself some grace and maybe don't do the writing, etc. Like, it'll come. But I know that when I'm feeling really good, I'm like, okay, I can probably do, 2 days work in this one day.
Yeah. Smash it out.
The downside is that then when you have beers, basically 2 or 3 of them, my heart rate goes up and it takes longer to come down. So naturally I do sleep worse. And when I first got it basically said, you won't want to drink, which I have definitely not done. But seriously, like you realise how bad it is for you. And just even, so it's probably swapped, I would go to functions, have two beers and be like, okay, well, I'm still fine to drive.
Yeah.
But now if I go to a function, I'll be like, you know what, I probably won't have a beer. I'll have a 0 or just water or whatever, because I know even those 2, I'm starting the next day on a slight back foot. But I used to think that it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
But if I have a couple around 3 p.m, by 10 p.m. going to bed, or 9 and then 10, probably not so bad. So, and also I used to be get up at 5, get up at 6, like up early, get into it, smash it. Now I've basically gone back to letting my body guide me of when I should, like what my actual kind of cycle of sleep is, and then get up based on that and then attack my day that way.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So it's been really interesting, a bit of a journey.
Yeah. I've never been a morning person. Always been a night owl. And so the whole just waking up when your body like wants to, that's me. Like obviously having a near 3-year-old in the house, it's been a little different over the last however long, and he's actually made me more of a morning person, which is great. But now I actually find if I wake up because he's waking me up, it's okay. But if I have to set an alarm for 6 for something, and it's not really when my body's ready to be awake, I struggle for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I guess we all just get compartmentalised into a 9-to-5 job and whatnot, but don't actually learn. But then when you build a business or are in a bit more control of your life, you then start to get to play with, okay, how do I want my day to be shaped and whatnot? Obviously, then you have kids and all of that probably goes out the window. But even the other thing, I did a presentation the other day for 45 minutes. I got off stage and my Aura Ring, because it suggests the activity it thinks you've been doing. Yeah. Now, interestingly, I haven't played golf for like 5 years. I don't play golf. I might go to a driving range, try hit a ball, and it reminds me why I don't do that. But I played a game of golf before a wedding, and later on went on to my Aura Ring app, and it's like suggested activity, golf. Like, whoa, how does it know that I was playing golf? Yeah. When I don't have any data to suggest that that's something I do commonly, but I assume it's because it's got data of everybody can see like the distance that I've walked. Maybe my heart rate was spiked for a bit, then would like drop back down and then go maybe 9 times. And so it's probably like, okay, that's probably golf. But anyway, I'll get off stage and it's like suggesting, you've done a 45-minute workout. And even just like I was like, okay, that's strange. And then it didn't happen. Then it started to happen more. And I realized, some of these things that we do actually are very intense. And then I started thinking like, how am I fueling my body going into that? How am I fueling it, on the other side of that? Where you would think, just doing a talk isn't really putting that much strain on your body. But when it's then comparing your heart rate plus your like what zone you're in and whatnot to when you are exercising, you realize that you're burning more calories than you think. And without that data, you then don't think about those things and just sort of carry on. So yeah, it's been pretty fascinating. This sounds like a paid advertorial for Aura ring. Anyway, let's get into Withers & Co. a bit more. So what are some of the, if you can say, like organisations or types of solutions that you're solving for people out there? I'd imagine there's probably a heap in the touch space that are saying, or that you're knocking on the door saying, hey, you should be using us.
Yeah, Touch is the sublimated apparel, that space is, so we're small. So it's Matt and I, and then we've got 2 staff in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And so we don't chase the big contracts that the bigger apparel players chase. We will come in for your corporate or your social touch teams that want just 16 singlets for your Thursday's social night touch, and we slide in there. But we are across so many different industries, which is really cool. It's that how every client's different, every project's different.
Yeah.
And so your likes of Meadow Fresh, they sponsored the Breakers. They came to us and wanted a activation for a halftime slot at Spark Arena. So we came up with some custom plush cows attached to little parachutes that then got thrown out from the rafters at Spark Arena. And there was a big moo meter, and they floated down into the crowd there.
Yeah.
So lots of sporting activations, like Crusaders flags, right through to accountants' pens and notebooks.
Well, we've certainly used a few of those ourselves. Wow, okay, so it's not just merch, in terms of shirts and logos on things. There's so much that you can do in this space, right?
Correct, yeah. It is definitely your traditional, your drinkware, your bags, your T-shirts, your caps, that side of it as well, but we also can get really creative too. We've got a really good supply chain over in China, Philippines, the US. We were just in Vegas in January for a trade show there. Because the US just trends-wise and activation-wise, they just do it so well. But no, we've got a really good supply chain, and we've worked really hard at getting our minimums down to be able to do a custom cap on 100 pieces. So rather than, you can have your caps with your logo just on the front, but then you flip it over and you've got your tape all branded up and your wee woven tag on the inside as well. So just kind of elevating the merchandise as well. Yeah.
And then do you facilitate for, say, some people who might be dipping their toe in the water and they might want to make 100 shirts or 100 hats like that, but then they don't have the ability to take payment and then ship it and all that sort of stuff. Are you guys doing that?
Yeah, so we do have an online solution that, like Boys Get Paid, your fans, your crew can come on, purchase online, and then it gets shipped directly to them. Yeah, and we managed to do that with no stock holding, which was great. It's not super cost effective now, like everything's going up pricing-wise these days, right? But our branders are getting more creative just with solutions where you don't have to charge the big setups. It's direct to film, specific transfers and stuff so that we can do smaller runs. Because at the moment I would feel out in the industry like the 5,000 T-shirts being handed out at festivals, those orders have like dried up quite a bit. I think people are being more cautious with their spend, doing less. And so it's just like, right, how do we do this in a cost-effective way while still doing some cool quality merch?
What's the biggest order quantity that you guys would have done, do you think?
There's definitely some projects where we've done like 10,000 and 20,000 units, but it's like small things like we pencils into new wheels for the Easter finds and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But like got a client who does 2,500 Christmas gifts each year, and has a nice budget on that.
Yeah. Do they change it up every year?
They do.
Yeah.
Wow. And just presented him some ideas last week, actually.
For this next Christmas?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when you want to do some cool creative stuff, you need to have the lead times.
Yeah.
And you want to sea freight it in. So it's about a 3-month project, depending on the design, pre-production samples, getting that over, checking that, and then into production before the shipping. So yeah, always earlier the better, for sure.
Yeah.
But you always get there's always the orders that come through, and it's like, I need this next week, or like. It's always that question of like, what's the last date I can order it? Yeah. So they're basically asking like, what's the last second I can open this parachute before like it's not going to work.
Hit the ground.
Yeah.
Speaking of trends, what trends are coming, or what's looking fashionable that people are that we might see coming?
Colour blocking is back in the States.
What does that mean?
In apparel, so everything's kind of gone. Everything went plain, right? Like you're just in your bones, your sands, just plain T-shirts with prints. Your raglan sleeves were gone, all of that, and your hoodies all went really plain. Whereas we've seen over in the States a lot of colours back in, and like in the panels. So your sleeves are purple whilst your top's white. Starter jackets, the big bomber I'm wearing a bomber at the moment. But no, your starter jackets, a lot more colour coming back into play there. So that, a lot of recycled materials. Recycled polyester is really big. And everyone, what's eco, blah, blah, blah. It's more like, this is a recycled stainless steel bottle. It's not this is an eco bottle.
Gotcha.
It's eco-friendly. So just getting better with the materials that are coming in for sure, and then having a bit more of a view into the supply chain and where it's come from. A lot of products now like having QR codes that you can scan to be like, okay, cool. So this was produced in Bangladesh 6 months ago. It went through quality control here, it went through shipping here, it landed in New Zealand here. A bit more.
You can see like the lifetime of the
product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the consumer's going to be demanding that more and more, expecting it?
I think in New Zealand we're not quite there yet. I think in the States for sure. Although that's all going to be American made soon, right?
Yeah. Well, apparently, it's going to be interesting.
We're always just a little bit behind here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But I think that that openness for sure will be demanded.
All right, so 3 kids. This is a 7-figure business, so it's not, like it's just a walk in the park. Only 15% of businesses in New Zealand turn over $1 million plus. So you guys are doing that, and obviously dealing with some pretty big brands, and then some people like me that are pesky saying, can we get 10 of these? How do you juggle all of that? Because, I'd imagine as a mum, it's very demanding in terms of your time and time management. How do you find staying on top of everything?
Yeah, it's definitely a juggling act for sure. But I thrive when things are busy. It's when it's quiet that I get a little not so productive. So when things are busy, I am just onto the next. We're really lucky. We work from home. It's our business. We're flexible with our time for sure, so that we can walk the kids to school each day, can pick them up from school each day, can go down to the cross country, can go to the market day during work hours. So in that sense, we're really lucky. But also you've got to keep the sales coming in too, right? Like you have to be focused on the business too. And you can definitely see like there's some months where you're like, man, this is a bit of a slower month here. And it's like, wow, our last 4 weeks have been quite busy, non-work related, that we might have just dropped the ball a little bit on the work side, or, you know, you're really busy work-wise, so you drop the ball training-wise as well. So not every aspect in life. I think you're going to, you know, you're always going to be like winning and losing in some parts. But it is really nice just having that flexibility and being able to spend the time with the kids. I think, but also, so we're off to Japan in 3 weeks' time for 2 weeks with the kids, which is epic.
Nice.
But we need to be still across emails whilst over there, still doing sales, keeping everything turning over. And we do have our Catherine and Jess in the Philippines, who are amazing, and they run all our production. So, and they just straight into our Sarium, so that works out really well. But yeah, it's one of the. It's a bit of both, right? Like you still get to travel whilst working. Yeah. So I like it. Traveling's one of our things, and so we can still do that and work. So it's good.
I was going to say travel sounds like it's pretty important for you, and you really enjoy it, and like you said, it's one of your things. So is that you've tried to build this business around being able to do those sorts of things and design it so you can have freedom and take the kids to school, etc. It's been important to you to focus on?
Yes, yeah, and even like, you know, just being able to, we come up here to Auckland and do appointments, we go down to Queenstown and do meetings down there, like travelling and seeing clients is something we enjoy, and also get over to Hong Kong, trade show over there. We actually brought Jess and Catherine to Hong Kong with us last year.
Oh, yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Catherine, she's done a little bit of travel herself, but it was Jess's first time out of the Philippines. So that was really cool. Yeah. And then since then, she's been to Vietnam.
Wow.
So just kind of have like sparked a little bit of the travel bug in her. But yeah, travel it's always been something I've really enjoyed. It definitely gets me out of my comfort zone. And I like that. I probably don't show that it gets me out of my comfort zone. Like people like, you know, like, oh yeah, sweet, Janelle's got us. Like she'll figure it out. But yeah, like Europe last year for 3 weeks, like was epic for sure. But there's a lot of like brain space like goes into that too. But yeah, just thankful that the business does allow us that. Yeah.
Any advice for mums who put so much pressure on themselves to get everything right and to be able to, do the sub 4 hour marathon, run the business, have the kids all sorted, have them healthy, etc. Like it must be stressful. So what do you tell yourself, and what could you tell other mums out there to give themselves a bit of grace when you're trying to perform at such a high level?
I think I just have a bit of like a roll with it mentality. Like you're going to have your good days and your bad days for sure. And one of my good girlfriends, she always reminds me, like, this is just a season in your life at the moment. And, that's just, could be just that week is a particular season. But it too, like, will pass. But yeah, I think, like, Billy's a really, really poor, like, he's a great sleeper. He's a poor eater. And if I get too caught up on him having toast for dinner because the chicken and vegetables that we put down first were denied, like you can just be beating your head against the wall, like, and just not having a good night. But it's like, oh, well, he's still fed. Wasn't what I would have liked him to have, but hey, look, he's going to bed with some food in his belly and he's good.
Yeah. Go again tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And I recently read Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory.
Oh, Let Them Theory. Yeah.
Yeah, which has the 5 second her rule. 5 second rule in it. But yeah, I'm really gonna be putting that into play this year for sure. Just
what's the whole crux of the Let Them Theory?
The Let Them. It's what's the saying? Let them.
Yeah.
And the way I'm kind of looking at it is I think I get really caught up in, like, New Zealand tall poppy syndrome. Are people going to judge this? What are they thinking about us doing that? And because we do travel a lot, people see us. We get that comment like, do you guys even work? Like sometimes like that.
That passive aggressive throwaway comment whilst running $1 million business. No, not at all.
And so I kind of pulled back a lot on my social media and stuff like that because I felt I was getting a bit of that judgment and I didn't like it. But people are going to judge regardless. And it's how I decide to let that affect me. So let them judge, let them feel that way. That's not going to then control how I do my life and how I show up each day. And just having that mindset of it's not about them.
Yeah.
It's how am I, let me decide how I'm going to do this and react to this.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we let other people hold us back. And I do it myself. I was posting a video this week. I'm like, do I need to go into this or do I just leave this as something that I do and don't need to talk about because is it unrelatable? Just about like income levels and what you can get paid for doing certain things. And I try and stop myself and be like, no, like punch it anyway because it might speak to the people who are really interested or it sparks something for them where they go and change their life, much like taking your staff member to Hong Kong and then they're like, oh, whoa, okay, this travel thing, what's going on here? And then they're off on their journey. And I try and remind myself that it's for those people, but you'll always have people that are, that they're not going to be interested. And even sometimes like I'll look at the people who unfollow, get the change. Like I won't go look at them, but I'll look at the numbers. I think, man, that's a lot of people. Like what are they?
Unsubscribing.
Yeah. Or like unfollowing or whatever. And I'm like, well, fine, it's probably not for them, but they might take something out of context or I'm just, I'm not their guy. And you have to eventually come to peace with it. And I think all of us do. Otherwise, you just then fall back down to the standards of those people. And
correct.
You probably haven't aimed or set a goal to operate like them to start with. So then why are we trying to, show that our life is the same as theirs? But man, society pressure it's a tough one to navigate your whole life, I think.
It is, right? And everyone's just wanting to be in control of their lives. And I think that Mel touches on that. Like as a human race, we all want to be in control of ourselves. And so everyone's just doing everything with kind of that psyche. Yeah. And so let them do whatever they're doing. Let them have a messy room.
Yeah.
And just not get caught up in that small stuff. Like a good example was, when you're at the checkout and the checkout man or lady is really slow at packing your trolley, and you're like, I need to get out of here. Like, can we fasten this up? And you feel yourself starting to get worked up, and it's like, just let them take it slow. Let me take it slow at this point too. Not get worked up, and roll out of here feeling better. Not being all huffed and puffed. That took so bloody long.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, no, this is the speed we're going at. That's cool. I'll gain out some time packing the groceries into the car, just stuff like that.
I think I might have to read this book.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And then that whole 5 seconds thing was, it's good. It's like you just count down. If something's hard, going into the cold plunge at the gym, I'm always like, okay, right, I can do this. And it's just like, right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in.
Yeah. She's phenomenal, Mel Robbins. That's such a good book, that 5 second rule. And it's one of those things where you're reading, you're like, this makes so much sense. You practice it for a while, but then you easily forget about it. And it's like you need to go back and be like, oh, that's right. I have the skill and the tactic for that. I know how to get past this, but your body and your brain's always going to take you back to the not doing that stuff.
Yeah. I actually felt like her a little bit this morning when she was on a podcast and they're like, when was the last time you used it? And she's like, this morning getting out of bed because I was hungover and I had to come here for this podcast. And I literally was in bed this morning. I was like, I'm literally Mel Robbins today, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up.
Up we go. Nice. You're obviously an avid reader. What other books have you read that really spoken to you, would suggest that people check out?
So the self-help books and autobiographies and all of that, that's my goal this year. We're doing one a month.
Yeah.
So I'm only 3 months in. And the first book I read was The Whole-Brained Child, because it's the first book of parenting that I've read. But just wanting to understand why toddlers are the way they are and why they're having the tantrums and all of that.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. I have found, so I read a lot of like thrillers, chick flick, romance, spicy novels, all of that. I skim read. I can read a book really fast because I've found out that I skim a lot over a lot of the door was painted yellow with the, all those like small details. I kind of like
so
move
important.
quite fast.
What's
like,
behind the door?
Yeah, through that.
Yeah.
But like reading the whole brain child and the Let Them Theory this year, like it takes me a long time to read those. And I feel I have to kind of like read a bit, process it, and then go back to it. So I've read, the 4-Hour Work Week, Atomic Habits for your habit stacking, a few of those, but I'm just getting into this. So I haven't got too many good suggestions for you there.
Yeah,
but
that's all right.
Harlan Coben's always a great thriller.
Harlan, who, sorry?
Harlan Coben.
Harlan Coben.
Yeah, so now he's quite a few of his novels have been made into short series on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
And I think he's grown a lot there, which is really cool. But the first one I read of his, which was The Woods, after the first chapter, you're like, holy shitballs. Like, you got to keep reading because and it's just twists and turns. You can never predict how it's gonna finish. So yeah.
What's a book that you've read in your life that has had the biggest impact, or that you'd recommend everybody to read? Is there anything that comes straight to mind?
No.
Okay. So get into Let Them to start with.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a couple of questions to finish, but firstly, what's it like? Any advice, or what's it like, and then any advice around trying to run a business with your partner? That can't be easy. And how do you get your own me time?
Yeah, that's it's a fun one. We're really lucky in that Matt and I are quite different in our business. He's big picture, sales, marketing, the vision side of it, where he kind of pulls me along there. I'm details. I get shit done. Like, he'll be like, you'll come to him and be like, hey, can we do this? Yeah, no worries. And
You're
I'm I'm sitting there, honestly, and I'm like, dude, yeah, I'll just pull that out of nowhere. Cool. Yeah. But no, so then I'm more in the details, the processes, the logistics, that side of the accounts. I do. I run our Xero. I love getting in there.
Yeah.
So that we're really lucky. We really enjoy time together. Like, we go to the gym together. We're now doing some of our runs together. We travel together. We do a lot together. But we go to Ironhood and Christchurch, and they've got sauna plunges in both the men's and the ladies' changing rooms. So then we do a workout and then go into our separate sauna and plunges that's like a good half an hour, 45 minutes, where it's like I sometimes take my Kindle in there, or I just zone out in the sauna. But yeah, that's always some good me time.
Kids are at school and daycare through this, or
yes.
How do you? Yeah, okay, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
This is obviously a priority. You prioritize making this stuff happen.
Yeah. We probably gym maybe 2-3 times a week, and get that sauna plunge in there. Matt yesterday even just went into the gym, stretched, sauna plunge.
Wicked.
Did the recovery side a lot. And then we, post-COVID, put a pool in at home. And so we get some me time, just can sometimes skip out and just have half an hour sitting poolside, probably tapping away still on the iPad for sure. Yeah. But yeah, finding that space too. Because working from home as well you're always in it.
Yeah. It's very hard to create boundaries or make separate space from it, right?
Yeah. But that's definitely where I guess some of our running does come in. It's just like, right, and then you're off, you know? It's like 45 minutes just to self.
There's a interesting article I think you'll enjoy. Even there's a book on this, and it's about visionaries and integrators, so why both are essential. It's the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS, which is pretty popular worldwide, not massive in New Zealand. But
This
I can't
is a
remember.
book?
Yeah, there's a book about it.
Okay.
But it'd probably be both good for both of you to read, or anybody listening that basically identifies exactly what you just said before. They're in a relationship, whether it's just even as a couple, or then even business relationship or whatever, or even trying to figure out what you are yourself. There's normally a visionary and then there's an integrator, and you basically just articulated exactly that. But then understanding each other, but then understanding how they work together so well, and then what tasks one should be doing that the other should be doing. And it's really fascinating. I can't remember what the book is called, but I've read it. But if you search visionaries and integrators, you'll find this EOS book or reference to it. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's all like registered and trademarked. It's kind of the way that they explain it, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we do set some boundaries. Like if we go for a run together, he can't talk work to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I need some time that's just not work chat.
Yeah.
And
he's probably thinking about like goals and like,
oh yeah, when
why
he
don't we do this?
all these ideas.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
You're like, the idea is you stick to the run plan, dickhead, and just keep running at this pace, and we'll talk about that another time.
Like you're running too fast at the moment, slow it back. But yeah, even that's like, because my run coach was like, hey, look, your heart rate on some of these, they're too high. And I'm like, yeah, it's because of what Matt's freaking talking to me about.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, dude, like, I just want to zone out here. Like,
yeah, we don't need to set another 5-year goal while we're going for a run. All right, couple of questions to wrap up. And these are designed to be deep, so prepare yourself.
Okay.
Let's start with one that's a little bit softer. When you consider the concept of financial freedom, what does it truly mean to you beyond just the numbers?
Yeah, so for us, that's being able to travel and spend 6 months of a year in a different country, in a community, kind of like really getting that full immersion, while still being able to run the business, and having the kids there too. Like that would be unreal.
Brilliant. It's epic. It's epic and interesting how different people answer that question or think about that, where some people might just want a big stack of money sitting in a bank account, but that's not really the answer, because that's the number piece. But then what is it that money sitting in the bank account does? And when people actually really have to start unpacking, what it is that they want with wealth, fascinating how different we all are.
Yeah.
Actually, let's do this one. What role did fear of scarcity, debt, or financial instability play in your early environment, and how does that fear manifest now?
Yeah, that's deep, isn't it?
Yeah. Hungover, right at the end of the pod.
So my parents separated when I was 5, and my mum, for a number of years there, had like 4 or 5 jobs on the go. Had her main one, and then had other jobs just to like top things up. And so money was always kind of talked about in our household, and it was a pain point. But she provided everything for us. And so from a young age, I saw her working hard to pay the bills, but to also, I did gymnastics that was $500 a term, like my brother had a lot of sports too. And so money was there, but it was hard.
Yeah.
And so then I've always been a saver. And so I, for a number of years, like did not want debt. I still want to be debt free now because that, like, I still have some of that fear for sure. And like within the business, you know, Matt's like, right, we're spending this on the marketing, we're spending this on the website, all blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, it's a
lot of money, man.
A lot of money there, and like and also like with personally, it's like, right, we're doing these travels, we're doing this, we're doing that, and I'm like, I like to have a good, healthy wee buffer there, and that's probably like stemmed from the childhood for sure, and so yeah, it's one that like I'm constantly navigating. Yeah, for sure.
Nice, very well articulated, and I think that a lot of people would resonate with that, and even because it must be. You know, I sometimes do this where I go like, okay, I'm going to go on that trip, and I think, man, that's so much money compared to what I used to think was possible. But I've had to be like, stop saying that, mate. You know, like you built that money, you created it, you know how to generate it. Yes, but you know, it might be a lot of money compared to another way that you used to think, but it's also what you value or you really want to go. Yeah. And so we've got to find where we choose meaning and what we spend our money on.
Yeah. Like, so we're getting married next year.
Nice.
And we're doing a destination wedding in Tuscany.
Wow.
And even that, like me, like that's what I want to do, but also that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And me just being okay with spending that money to do that, like, is like internally something I fight with for sure.
Yeah.
And then also the judgment on doing a wedding like that too.
You're probably going to be worried about putting out your photos on social media because not only do these guys even work, like how do they afford a wedding over there?
Yeah, definitely. So that's definitely going in my let them
think what they want.
Yeah,
Fuck
for
them.
sure.
Sorry, the first F-bomb of the pod. Yeah. Oh, I think it's an internal battle that a lot of us face because I think the danger when you start learning more about financial security, investing, compounding and things as well is that it makes it harder to let go of money. Yeah. Because you know, that's not really just that. It could be this over there or it could turn into this much more. But at the end of the day, like you've got to strike that balance. But I think most people then take that strike that balance and go, oh, well, I'm going to go further into debt. I'm going to spend money I don't have. I'm going to YOLO. And then they take it to the nth degree, to the wrong direction.
Yeah. So I've just got very now controlled with our finances and how our budgeting and I read Keep the Change every Friday.
Nice.
And I've taken quite a few tips there. And then so like I run probably like 10 different bank accounts.
Yeah.
And now, you know, the money comes in and goes straight out to those, like, you know, for the bills and the mortgages. Yeah. And then it's like, right, what's our budget for nails? Or, you know, and that goes into an account. And so it's like there, or the holiday account.
Nice.
So...
Yeah,
I've got quite structured there.
Well done. You got to find what works for you, right? And that's, I think the old school used to be like get the envelopes and have it in the envelopes. I think people are trying to go back to that a little bit too.
The cash money.
Yeah. But getting harder to do with such little cash out there. But the multiple bank accounts is a goodie, especially in business as well, of like tax and GST and things like that. Yeah.
So I think I now need to take what I'm doing personally into the business accounts too with the GST and the tax. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've got clients who sometimes they'll just do that and that's been a game changer for them.
Yeah.
But I'll have others where they'll have like 20. I'm like, hey, you've probably overdone it.
Yeah.
And then they're constantly like looking at what's in each one and
yeah.
So you've got to, I think that's where some, you know, content's great and whatnot to get people started, but we all individually have to figure out what works best for ourselves.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully that hasn't been too painful, given your late finish.
No, I think it's actually like pulled me out of it. It's great. It's like distracted me. So, you know, I think it's going to be a good day.
Awesome. Well, if people want to find you or Withers & Co to get in touch, how do they do that?
Yeah, so just our website, withersandco.nz. We'll have both myself and Matt's contact details on there, or hit me up on Instagram. I think my handle's Nell Marie C. I am private though, so just Friends ad's fine.
Yeah. What about you've got a Withers and Co Instagram account
Yes,
too,
of
eh?
course.
Yeah. So that'll be at Withers and Co. I
Yeah.
think it is. Yeah.
So that's I'm gonna reinvigorate our Instagram this year. Actually, that's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh well, Matt will be telling you about that on the run that you.
Oh
do.
yeah. So that's the thing. He's like, right, we're doing this, but then I'm the one that's gonna be actually doing it.
Right, we're doing this, which basically means, oh hey, that falls onto your list. Awesome. Well, we'll let you get out of here, and you've got a bird to catch back down to Canterbury. So, thank you for sharing some insight. I'm sure it will inspire a lot of people with how much you've got going on and juggling. And we'll talk again in the future.
Yeah, thanks for having me.